great idea to practice with Canva. I know a lot of people using it now. It's wonderful, like a lot of the other technology tools we have right now to make our lives easier. A lot of small businesses are using Canva because it's less expensive than having, and instead of having someone to do it for you because they have so many templates. I'm going to change my background really quickly. So the background that you see right now in video is made in Canva. So in your Zoom, you can upload a photo, a GIF, any sort of background, including video. It just won't have sound. And so if you should ever use a video for your background, it probably is better if it's going slow moving. But the reason I use this is if you block your camera, the background will show without you in times when you don't want to show your face on your video. So that's why I had that there to demonstrate how that could be useful for you. I'm going to mute you, Veronica Bivens. Thank you for making it. And I'm going to continue. We're just getting started. I'm just going to change my background to something that's not as distracting. And so the Zoom backgrounds, a lot of people have asked me about Zoom backgrounds. The Zoom background as well is very easy to make in Canva. So if you already have a design, you can come over here to resize. And among the options in Canva, one of them, if you just type in Zoom here, you'll see Zoom events, Zoom virtual background. You would select the Zoom virtual background and tell it that if you know you're done with that design, you can say redesign this design. Otherwise, you would say copy and resize, and your original document would stay the same, and it would start a whole new document for you that would be for your Zoom background, for example, but it could be many other things. So the ease of Canva, let's, for example, if you designed a flyer and you thought, I want that same flyer to be sized for my social media, this is where you would do it, by using this resize button. So I'm going to go forward in my presentation. And each slide, I'm going to be showing you some tools that you can use. And so in each slide, there's items that I put here intentionally to show you how to fix. And just so you'll notice things that you want to be looking for. It's easy to see them in other people's work, but not so much in your own, because most of the time we're just trying to get it done. So I put a lot of busyness over here, and I'm going to delete out that background and move these leaves away so that the words are more prominent. You want to make sure you have fonts that work for the purpose of your document. So what I want to get into is everything that you're going to select is going to be based on purpose. So our theme is going to be practice with purpose. So I'm going to go through a short introduction of myself, the artist. It's the benefits of using Canva, and then some design basics that you should always know. So about me, for those that don't know me, some of you know my business is called Go Fly Biz, Go Super Flyers, Super Flyers, Go Fly Nikki, Nikki Styles. I have a lot of aliases, but it's all just me. And that's because I started working in entertainment. Later, that brought me to government, nonprofit, and the work in graphic design was able to carry me through that in my profession. And I always get excited about sharing it with other people. So I graduated from Talladega College in 2020 with a Bachelor in Fine Arts and Business. I am a self-taught graphic designer and owner of superflyers.biz, and I'm open to teaching. We're going to start off with a short Zoom poll that I'll share here. If you prefer to use your phone, you can scan this QR code, and I'm going to share the poll through Zoom if you prefer to do it that way. And there's only 2 questions, so it's not very complicated. It's just going to give me an idea of where you are. And let me know if you see it. One moment. Might take a second. And you see it? It's just a black box right now. 1 second. I'm gonna load it again. Oh, somebody did answer. I'm gonna repost it. Repost it. Okay, relaunch poll. Relaunch. Okay, can you all see that?
Yes, we can see it, Nikki.
Okay, I'm looking at my sample screen and I don't see it there, so I just want to make sure. So the first question is, are you comfortable using Canva? This is really simple, yes or no, not really. And the second one is, which items would you be most interested in learning? So I'm presuming most of you are here because you've already fiddled with it, might have had success, or you might have made a big mess and are like, how do I fix this? So I've been able to learn how to use it in doing logos, flyers, social media, business documents, and video editing. And all of those are things that I previously did with the Adobe Suite, which is thought to be the professional grade version of design stuff. But I'm passionate about teaching people just ordinary language, how to get it done. And so business owners need to know that. So I am going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results. So most of you said that no, you are not very comfortable with it. And it seems that most people are interested in doing flyers. So that's this is what we're doing today. Will be a holiday flyer that you could easily print if you want to use it for holiday cards, or you can design it for any other purpose. But I thought since we were coming up on the holidays, this would be a great opportunity for us to practice. So I'm gonna move on. So let me share my screen again. The items that I want to share about you, about just the philosophy of design without going too deep, are typography, color theory, tools, and layout. So typography is pretty much just what it sounds like. It's the philosophy of what kind of fonts you're using. So in the design I have this script font. In some cases, something like this may work. In some cases, it won't. So one easy way that you can change this in Canva is up here where you see Homemade Apple. Canva kind of categorizes the fonts by different styles. So I can click handwriting if I know I really want to keep a script font, but maybe I want something easier to read. So if I change this to this font, down here at the bottom, there's something that says change all. So if I know that this is the one I like, I can say change all, and it would change it throughout the entire document. So if you only want to change it on that slide, you don't want to select change all. But since I do think this is a cleaner look, like if we go back, you'll see that the other font I had is now been replaced by this one. So your typography is just, like I said, I want us to focus on the purpose. So the fonts you use should directly be associated with what's the purpose of the document. So this is a holiday card, so I could probably get away with more script. If this was a business document, I wouldn't recommend using a script font at all. But you will have to be able to make those decisions. But I want you to always think about what's the outcome. We're going to also talk about color theory. A lot of times, if you select a Canva template and you start putting in your own pictures, in your own text, or you might be trying to change elements to fit your organization or business's colors and kind of forget that there's already a color theme associated with the flyer that you're using or the item that you're using. So you want to make sure that that is also consistent as well. So this is a multi-page document, but here, if I click on the background, there's a bunch of other stuff, but if I click on the background, you see this red circle popped up, and if you hover over it, you'll see that it says background color. So let's say I wanted mine to change this whole theme to blue. Maybe I want to do Hanukkah, and maybe I want to change my whole design as I did with the font. I can click here again and say change all. And that's going to change the color, background color of all of my slides. So again, if you're doing a multi-page document, that change all will be helpful for you. And you want to think about so maybe I don't like this yellow with this blue. Maybe I want it to be silver. So if you click on that element, like you see when I clicked on it, that little, that color changed to yellow. So I want to change that, let's say, to silver. And this is broken up in different parts. So I have to change, make sure to do change all. So another thing that you'll notice over here in this color bar, whenever you click on an element, this is going to show you, that area is going to show you what options you have. So if I click on the snowflakes, it shows me here the options for that item. So let's say I wanted my snowflakes to be red. So the same thing, I made the snowflake red, and I'm going to make all my snowflakes red. So whenever you're over here in this color panel, it has some document colors here. Brand kit, this is when you know you have an organization, you're going to keep using certain colors. You can actually tell it which colors you always want to use. So with our Business Women's Organization, NANBPWC, I have a color brand kit that I already have here with a specific color red, a specific color yellow. So if your business is crucial that you are always using the same colors, you want to take some time to go in there and set up your brand kit. And I've done this with several businesses that I've dealt with. Also, if you put a photo in, and again, you want to kind of keep things coordinated. When you click on that photo and you go back to the colors, it's going to sample colors from the photo. So maybe I want it to be this green that's in my photo. And that may not look good with that background. So, it takes some time to get used to working with different colors. But I think the most important thing is going to be having some kind of consistency in your document, especially if it's multi-pages. So another item here I wanted to show you with the picture, there's an option here, corner rounder. You can click that and adjust the lever to shape it up. So this particular picture was sort of kind of off, so I can make it larger. I can center it. So I see a lot of people adding photos to Canva, and they're just so happy they got it in there, but sometimes they're not in there properly. So if you double click on any picture that you put in, it'll give you options for cropping, or you can move it around. You can also, if you have Canva Pro, what a lot of people want, and this is useful with logos, you can use this background remover option and not have that background at all. I took the picture out too. The good thing about the background remover, it lets you restore and put back parts that you may want. But that picture, I think, is so low resolution, it just took the whole picture out. So let me put that back. So we got typography, color theory, tools. So some of the tools I'm going to be showing you, lots of tools. And that's what I said, instead of taking up time just giving you these technical things, I'm going to show you the tools as we're using them. And then finally, we're going to talk about layout. Layout is just how the elements sit on the page, or what we call composition. So subconsciously, if those things are on the page properly, most people's minds will say that's beautiful. If they're not, then there's just an uneasy feeling of what's wrong with this. So let's move on. So some of the benefits of using Canva, you might have already found, is pretty inexpensive. Even if you have a pro version, in comparison to something like Adobe, it's very inexpensive. It's also efficient. So in one platform, you can use stock photos, videos, you even can grab audio, and so many other things. So here, the song that I used with this presentation, I just typed holiday up here in my search bar. And if you notice here on this top menu, it says, if let's say I wanted a holiday graphic, I click graphic. Okay, I want to put a gift in. That's cute. Okay. And maybe you don't like that gift. Then you have to be more specific. Maybe I want to say holiday flower. If you're more specific, then there's a nice poinsettia or a mistletoe, I think, or I don't know if that's holly or mistletoe, but that thing. Okay. Also, if you go to photos, there's photos. So I might want a holiday family in the photo. So there's lots of families. Or I might want a holiday video. Even if you're doing an email Christmas card. So these videos, when you hover over them, you'll see what's actually in the video. So if you need stock images, whether they're photos or videos, you can use them. You can grab them there. But like I said, try to be as specific as possible so that you can find what you want. And ultimately, you can always upload your own images. So I have a few sample images here on my desktop, and I'm just going to take it and drag it over here in this area. So when I take it and drag it over there, you see this area. This is like a status bar. So I'm going to go to my uploads, and that picture that I just dragged in there, I'm dragging another one in there. You're going to see that status bar start filling up, and then momentarily you're going to see the picture populate here. So this is a CD cover. I'm putting all these things here back to why Canva is so useful. These 4 flyers or logo that I had here previously, these are things that were done in Photoshop years ago. And I usually had to use several different applications to create them. And they took hours. And I just, as a business person, you just don't have that much time. But at the same time, you might not have the advertising dollars to have an outside firm do all your advertising. So, so that's where the best benefit I can see in Canvas is very efficient, it's inexpensive, it's collaborative. So just as I sent you all that link, if you are working in a group or organization where it's not just you working, Canva is going to be your friend because you can share that with people where they can actually work on it with you, or you can share it in such a way where they can just take a look at it. But if we click here for share, there's several options down here so you can download it. How you download the file is going to go back to what I said. What is the purpose of it? If the purpose of it is to be a document for someone to edit, you might want it to be a PDF. So you have the option of PDF here. If you want it to be a video, like I did this video that was my background, I would download it as an MP4 video. If you wanted it as a logo, a PNG or a JPEG might be fine. So before you start a document, it's going to be helpful to know what are you creating it for. And so when you share it, you can download the proper format. But also under share, you have present. So if you have a presentation, you can present it on the screen. That's another form of sharing. I don't know if you can hear the music. So there's a few different options down here. Also, one of the final things I want to show you before I leave the share, these you'll have to play around with, is the print with Canva. So if you wanted to print any page of this, if we wanted to print this as our Christmas card, for example, you can print directly with Canva. So here's an invitation with an envelope, or you might just want a postcard that you're going to mail. If you wanted it to be a t-shirt. So they have all kind of options here. You probably can get them somewhere else cheaper. But if it's something simple and you just want to get it done, you have that option here. So this is going to show me a sample of what my print is going to look like. So since I hit print, you see there's a little sample over here. So Canva is going to show you what your prints are going to actually look like, and what you can select, what kind of paper you want. You want premium paper, deluxe paper, hemp paper. I'm sure the prices go up. But for right now, if I wanted to print 50 invitations with the front and back, that would be $39.50. If you want to include envelopes, that's another $8. And so again, going back to purpose, it's going to be important to know what you're using it for so it will be formatted properly. So I'll go back to my presentation. That one. This one. Okay, so those are the benefits. And finally, it's collaborative, it's dynamic. So you do not have to hit save in Canva. Those of you that have fooled around with it already know that. You can undo things. You can undo in Canva, but at a certain point, and once you leave the document, you won't be able to undo anymore. So it means it will kind of auto save. So I'm still undoing all the way back to red background. So you can undo as long as you're still in the document, but once you come out of it and close it, you're out of luck. So if you have a partner, you're collaborating with someone and they change something, you want to make sure you're in there. So since we're going to use holiday cards today to review, this is just a sample holiday card that was for the city of Talladega. I was limited because I had to put all the pictures of the council people that they're not that cute, but the card was cute. And so it illustrates some of the things that we're going to be talking about, the typography, staying within a color scheme, making sure that it's legible, and that it fulfills the purpose. This card was in this shape because the city submitted them within the water bills, and the water bill envelope was this size. So again, with the purpose in mind, this is going to be a mailer, so it needed to follow a certain format. So if you're not sure, get out your old rusty tape measure and figure out the measurements of the end result before you start, if possible. So I'm going to make this a little larger, but the definition of design and its purpose is in communication. So ultimately, what are you trying to communicate? So Issey Miyake, who's a designer that some of you may know, Japanese designer, he says design is not for philosophy, it is for life. And so in my opinion, as a business person, your business is your life, right? Your business is how you take care of your family. And so you know, we can't waste a lot of time not doing things right. So if we must do it ourselves, I think we should give ourselves the most advantage possible. So this is a before and after of a flyer for the same event. I'm gonna get rid of all this stuff. And maybe you can tell me, you know, what stands out to you. This is the before, this is the after. This was a case which happens a lot, that a client called me and said, Nikki, we had someone else do something for us and we don't like it. It's not working for us. So in this case, I'll just tell you what they had issue with. It's a lot of words in both flyers, and those words they needed to have. So there's no way of saying that they can't have that. They didn't feel that the color scheme fit with the theme that they had. So when I redid it, we made the title really big, made the date a bolder color. Because we wanted to tie in with the artwork that they wanted to share, while we put this rainbow band here. So it's just kind of like this with your clothes, and you're trying to coordinate, and we stayed with this theme of the brown colors because it was warm, and the client liked it. So those are kind of things I'm going to show you as we move forward. Is we're going to start going into typography. And so you'll see too, with the typography, the words also having a real impact. So when you select the fonts, the name of this event was called Threads of Resilience. There's nothing here at all, not the text, not the pictures, that speaks to why is it called Threads. But it was called Threads because the focus of it is a lady that worked in textiles, and she basically did Renaissance clothing with a mix of African print materials. And so this flyer did not depict that at all for anyone who would be interested in it. So again, I want you to make sure that when you work on your projects that you stay with the purpose in mind. So some design tips for Canva is you're going to use templates, right? So the templates is what's so great about Canvas. It's going to help you start with something instead of having to start from scratch. Stick to a color palette. I mentioned that earlier. Whatever it's going to be, if you choose a certain set of colors and blues, try to stay consistent with that, because that is going to give it a more pleasing effect by the time you're done. You want to use icons and illustrations. So with this flyer here, if this was just straight text, it would be pretty boring. So if it was just this going on, it would be pretty boring. So even these things like this line, that's considered art, or these lines up here, it's just kind of tying things together. So, and then minimal text. A big problem I have with a lot of clients is they think that the flyer is a radio commercial, and they'll say, "Coming to a city near you on December 1st, 2025 or 2024, and I fear, I guess, if they don't say everything, that maybe somebody won't like it, but sometimes they're saying too much. So be very thoughtful on the most important information that needs to be included to get someone's attention or to inform them, but just enough. So you want to minimize the amount of text that you're using. If you need to, bullet points are good on a flyer, because especially if you have a lot of different topics. And then with your fonts, try to stay within 2 to 3 fonts if possible. I mean, real pros can maybe use 4 or 5 artfully, but most of us cannot. So those are some of the things we're going to be looking at. The typography, purpose. So again, you're going to choose how you're using the text with purpose. So hierarchy means, back to this flyer, for example, sometimes you'll see, you know, your little cousin or your little somebody did a flyer for you, and all of the text is the same size, and that's pretty boring. So a hierarchy means you're going to make larger the fonts that are most important, the things that you want that are going to grab people right away. So whatever the headings are, you might make them larger, or the date, if that's what your focus is. Going back to this, you don't want your subtitles. What's not as important? Everything is important, but think of it as in a hierarchy. What's most important? What's middle important? What's least important? Readability is very important. I'm going to jump to a flyer over here really quick. It will show. Come back to it. The flyer I thought was fine, but it had so many words. You just don't want to look at it. You're like, okay, it's too much. I don't want to read it. It's just too much to read. So back to, you know, the only hierarchy that there is they made the headings larger and the subtext smaller. And then they have some text over here in the middle and a different font here. And just to the brain, it's too busy. You can't really tell what it's about. So if you're ADHD like me, you're like, okay, that's enough of that. I don't want to look at it. And so coming back to, so make sure there's going to be, and the final thing is pairing. So when you do get those fonts, pairing means you might have a couple of different fonts, and they're going to be kind of matched together. So this is kind of blurry when I blow it up, but let's go back here. So the Resilience is one font. This font that says Threads Of is a different font. The Resilience font is repeated here in Celebrating. Then this December 1st, March 23rd is a different font, but that font is repeated here in the body of the text. The only difference is in this body of the text, all of the text is uppercase, is capitalized, but still mirrors this font. The lowercase font is again repeated here. So, you know, and no, I hope I'm not making it sound very complicated. What I'm saying is there are only 3 fonts in this document other than the logos, and they are trying to work together. So that you want to make sure there's some kind of harmony. So when you finish your flyer, you know, if you look at it and just something's not feeling right, it may not be the pictures, it may just be your text. So that's what pairing is, just being mindful of, do these fonts go together? So sometimes they just don't. Like this script font, I might want hierarchy to be in the middle, but it's just too far away. And because this font has loops on the bottom, it's just not going to work right there. But if I change this font to something else or make it all uppercase, then I can pair it with something else. So in that case, I can pair those better together. Or I might take this and put it over there. So how are your fonts working together? You want to be mindful of that. So we're going to move along. So here are some samples of bad typography. Not all of them. This one I thought was pretty good. But let's start over here. I already showed this one. This is just bad because your brain doesn't know what to look at first. It's not telling you, read this first, read this second. It's just kind of saying, read everything. And we know that people don't read anymore. So it's just too much text for a flyer that's meant to get attention. So let's get that out of there. Then they got this one. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 different fonts. It doesn't say much, but it is not doing anything to connect. So one thing that I would do is, like I said, if they just repeated any of them twice, it would have a sense of connection, but everything is different. So, and this font that's really small right under this font that's really big, or logo that's really big, and then there's another logo at the bottom. Again, it's just, it's not attractive. And the spacing between the font has an effect as well. So these lines are almost touching. These lines have a larger space in between. This one has a reasonable space, but it's not consistent spacing. Even if the spacing was corrected, it would be more attractive, but it's just not. This is a logo. Let me change the background color so you can see better. Okay, this is a logo. It's not very bad, but the font has a lot going on. It's a lot of color, and some people like color. But this font on the top, to me, is artfully designed. In my opinion, it doesn't go well with the font at the bottom where it says Chandrell Rivers Theater. The Chandrell Rivers Theater, this font where you see lines is called inline, but it's not doing anything to really add to the other fonts. So in my opinion, these fonts are not paired well together. And then there's a logo here on the side. It has established 1978 and it's got FTF. For those of you who do go and try to design logos, keep in mind that a lot of times you say, "Why we needed to say this and that," but nobody's going to see it because it's a logo. So be mindful if you're doing a logo, use the largest font possible and try to use it in a way that it can be read. But you can't read what the logo says, and the text is not. It's not the worst, but I wouldn't say it's the best either. So here's one that's pretty legible as a flyer, most of it, except for this white font down here at the bottom on the contact and hosted by the mayor. The font here, it has a star over the words, is centered here, but this is a left justified shape. So I would have left justified the text. Maybe not put this red font on the gray background. So you just want to keep mindful of the fonts you're using and why you're using them like that. And can people read it? And do people want to read it? Are you making people want to read it? This one is okay. This is a banner. It's pretty legible. There's a repeat in the font. This one that says "A Saturday Delight" is the same font as this Farmers Artisans Market. Jonesboro is a different font. There's about 3 different fonts in there. And this is one that I did. This was another Canva lesson that was for kids. That was like a video game. But I hope that we did have a good turnout with young people for this. But the idea was to attract young people. So the fonts like this start and the menu emulated a pixelated a video game style that matched with some of the elements that were in there. And then finally, this was just a book that we gave away, but I think this is a great use of fonts. It's very simple, but the unmasking AI is the same as the author's name. And the image is very well done, enough to make you want to open the book. It's intriguing enough to make you want to open the book, I think. All right. So now I want to hear from you. We're moving from typography to color. So I kind of deliberately thrown a lot of stuff in here before we get to our Christmas card, to say, or holiday card. Look, again, when you get the Canva template, it has a lot of things set up, and usually it's beautiful when you start it. Just a lot of times when people finish it, it's not as beautiful. So what are some things here from the typography that we just talked about? I'm gonna let you tell me what's wrong with colors in here. And let's see if we can change any of it. You're okay to put it in the chat, or you're okay to speak out if you like. And if not, I'll start pointing out some things.
I think it's really busy. I think it's busy. I think the lavender background does not add. That's just me and my personal opinion. Doesn't add anything.
What if you're?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what if your business was lavender?
Then I guess it would be fine. It's just okay. I don't know.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's say we don't want it lavender. What color would we like it to be?
Yeah.
So I just used the background remover. So we just took out the background. That was a whole photo. Let's say you can click on that image and you can go to edit. And so when you want to edit an image, you have a lot of options here. So we just used the background remover, but you can also click here where it says adjust. This is where you adjust colors on an image. So this can be an image that you uploaded or another image. So let's see if I can make my purple look more red or maybe more blue. So my temperature, I'm going to take it over here to the blue side, or if you take it over to the yellow side, that's warmer. That's one way you can adjust colors, or you have tint, how you just fool around with these levers. Actually down here, color edit. So let's see if I click this purple and I wanted to make it more blue or green. Okay. I wanted to make it red. I would then bring up my saturation, and now it's red. Okay, for all the B and P people, I'm gonna delete that. So I added this, so like I said, if I'm gonna make this happy holidays, if you click any of the text options, you're gonna see the option up here. So this is telling me it's black. I want it to be red, and I want it to be the same red as these Christmas balls. And I'm gonna come down here. It doesn't have a sample, so I'm just gonna have to pick the closest red that I can see and take the happy holidays. This Merry Christmas, some of the elements that you pick from over here when you go to graphics. So if I was to type in Merry Christmas, for example. And you go to graphics, when you put different graphics in, different graphics have different options. So let's say I click this Merry Christmas. This doesn't have options to change the colors, but this one that says Merry Christmas, it does. This only has the option to make it one color. But this one when you click on it, you see it has an option to change 2 colors. So you might want to just take some time if you're trying to add elements to your card to test out which one is working best for your purpose. So this one, if I wanted it to be blue and red, I could do that. And I maybe not want Merry Christmas with my dreidel. Or you might want to get fancy with a whole nother color scheme. So you can use a picture as your background. Is another important thing to know. So where a lot of people start having issues with Canva or other items is all of these elements are layers. Think of them as being stacked from the front to the back. So these things that you still can see are in front of the Happy Holidays layer. And the things that you can't see are behind it. So when I click on it, one way you can do it is you can right click. I just right clicked on this image that says Happy Holidays. And I'm gonna go here where it says layer. And I'm gonna go to send to back. That's gonna send it all the way behind everything else. And I'm gonna get rid of these red balls. And I'm gonna get rid of Thanksgiving. And I'm keeping this girl for a second because I wanted to show you something. So I'm going to move out of here in a second, but just with her, sometimes you're going to upload pictures of yourself or other people and the coloring is off. To me, she looks too orange, right? It's just not natural. So we want people and pictures that we put in to look as best they can, because that can change the whole feeling of the document or flyer that you're making. So I'm going to click on her and I'm going to go back to edit here. So there's some different things we can do. I'm going to go back to adjust. So first thing, I just want her to not be as orange. So I'm going to go down here to where it says saturation. And I'm going to turn that down a little bit, tone that down. Also, so she looks natural and not washed out. Everybody has highlights and shadows when you naturally look at anything. So you can bring up the white. And we could also bring up the blacks a little bit. We already saw where we can adjust the color. So if she's this orange color, this is what is sampling. We could also click that and take some of the saturation down there as well. So she's just not so orangey. Also, it has clarity and sharpness. Now, if your picture is just horribly blurry, this is not going to help you much and it's going to make it look bad. But just for a tiny bit of refinement, you can use this lever to make your image more sharp or more clear. There's another great tool in the Canva Pro that I like, which is called, if you click back on it, go to edit. It's called Magic Grab. So let's say I want her out of the background. So as soon as I did that, it brought up this window. So I could either select what I want to grab by brushing it or clicking it. I'm going to go with the click and I'm just going to click on her. And you see how it put an outline right there around her? So it intuitively, or AI knows that I want her. So I'm going to click on her and hit grab. So sometimes you have a picture, you don't want that background, like you might be standing in front of your car or a lamp or a tree that's growing out of your head. And so I'm going to delete that background. So I still have her. One other thing that's going to be really helpful for you in Canva is in your elements. If you scroll down, there's these things called frames. The frames come in all kinds of shapes, forms, and sizes. So let's look at see all. All of the, you'll know it's a frame as what I'm referencing because there's like a little picture of sky and I don't know, grass in there. And that's just kind of what the frame thing looks like. So let's say we want to put her in a circle frame. The basic shapes are usually up at the top and more complicated things down here. Let's say you wanted to do letters and spell out holidays and put a different person in your family or business in a different letter. Then there's frame letters. I'll show you one. Let's just do a basic shape. Let's do a circle. So my logo for this assignment I mean, for this project, we did, so she's in a circle. I'm gonna put a circle behind her just to give her a different background. So that was a circle frame. This is a circle shape. I'm gonna make that yellow for our purposes. And I'm just gonna slide that. I can do it in front of her. And as I showed you, right click on it and go to layer, and you're gonna go to send to back. So it appears that she is in a circular frame. And again, if you want to adjust the item, you have to double click on the picture and you're able to drag it so it fits in the frame better. Okay, so those are a few things. We're going to get into our card. So just trying to keep them in the back of your mind. These things are not going to make the best sense until you try them out. And I'm just going to go to these final things. So I touched on a little bit uploading files. Does anybody need to see what that looks like or has trouble bringing files into Canva? Okay. So as I said, it's basically when you know where your file is, you're just going to drag and drop it either on the screen, or you can drag and drop it over here in this left side panel, and it's going to upload. You can even drag and drop in, for example, a PDF. So if you're doing a document and not a flyer, for example, the PDF is going to upload, not in the upload area, but here where it says projects. So let's say I add a blank page here. So this is a PDF I just uploaded, which is a press release I have been working on. And now it's uploaded. I'm going to drop it in there. Once you drop your PDF in here, unfortunately, Canva does change some of the formatting, but I can come in here and now edit this text. And I could change, if I now say I'm taking that PDF and I want it to be a slide, I can come in here and rearrange that as I want to. And this could be a part of my presentation for this event, for example. So that's helpful to know. So let's go back. So to wrap it up, uploading files, I kind of showed you how to resize a file. We're going to do it again when we get to the holiday card. Animations. So as I said, my background previously, and I'll change it back, was a video. It was the video of this exercise. And it was a little distracting. But you can put an animation on any of the elements in your Canva document and save it. So the two ways that you would save it so that it stays animated is as a GIF or as a video. So I'm going to put my video back on for a second. Okay, there's my video. So if you click here on practice with purpose and you click here, let's see, it's not effects. It's right now it says scrapbook. That's the effect that's on here. But if there was none, you would click there. It would say animate. That's what it should say. Let me see if I can read. Okay, I'm going to remove animation. So okay, so once I removed it, if there's no animation on the text, it'll just say animate here. If there is an animation, it's going to have another word there, which is the title of the animation that's on the item. So I clicked on those words. I'm going to go to animate. And so when you hover over these, like this is typewriter. So you see how the words kind of typed across. So it's just giving you a sample. So after you sample what you like, you can decide which one you want, if you even want an animation. So let's say you don't print your Christmas card and you want to just send it as an email. You would put your animations on the items, and when you go to share it, instead of downloading as a PDF, you're going to download it as a GIF. Okay, the GIF, and it says, and it explains that that is a short clip with no sound. So let's just say it's a Santa bobblehead, I don't know. So it's not for a long movie, it's just for a couple of little tiny moves. So that's when you would save it as a GIF. So that's just a little bit on animation. The frames I've just showed you. You get a frame when you come here to elements. So like I said, let's say I want to frame a letter frame. Just type what you want. So here's some letter frames. So let's say I wanted Nikki, N-I-K. That's enough. So once you have the frames placed how you like, you're gonna take your uploads, or you can use stock photo too. I can go back to the holiday, go back to elements, and let's go back to holiday. Okay, so let's say I put a gift in that one. I need photos. Okay, can't drag clip art in there, so let me drag some photos in there. So this one is some glittery stuff. And this one is some red glitter. So all I did is go to, instead of selecting graphics, after searching under my elements, I went to the stock photos. But again, if you didn't want to use stock photos and you actually wanted to use photos that you have, you can go to your uploads and put your own photos in those frames. And so it might be a nice thing to use. It may be too fancy. But on basic photos, these frames are very helpful because they're already sized up as you would need them. Okay. All right, so let's say you are going to print, and let's say you're going to print a book. It will be good for you to know that when I first started, I didn't know what a bleed was. So a bleed in printing is when the print or color comes all the way out to the edge of a document. So if you don't design it with an extra part that would end up being cut off, then what you'll have is a white border around the edge. So a bleed is in meaning you're making your file a bit longer than it needs to be so that when the printer cuts it, there's no white edge. So most home printers are not designed to print with a bleed. So that's why oftentimes if you print something at home, you just have to have that white frame around it on your printer. But a bleed is more for professional printing. You would adjust the bleed if you need that over here where it says file, and then you have settings. Oh, and then you look here where it says show print bleed. So I don't know.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute you, Barbara Johnson. If you can see this thin line, this is telling me that this yellow is running beyond that line. So, but if, for example, this red, it's not. So what would happen is that where the printer would cut it could be anywhere between this black line and that edge, and that means some of that yellow would still be showing. So that's another thing just to practice with. But if you intend on designing something that's going to be printed and you want it a professional look, you should look a little bit more into how to set the bleed. Arrangement, we kind of looked at already. You know, how the elements are arranged or laid out on your document is important. The same rules that apply to typography apply to arrangement. So there should be a hierarchy. Back to what's most important. What is the most important thing that you want to look at? So like I said, with this exhibit, the dresses are probably the most important thing that will make people come. So that's why they made the dress the largest thing. And so you always want to be mindful of how you're laying things out. And sharing, I already showed you that. And the final thing, if you have Canva Pro and you just don't have the images you want, I've been fooling around with the AI features. Some of the AI features don't come out very good, especially people's eyeballs. But sometimes they do. So the way you add an AI feature is you're gonna go to Elements. Let's go to All. Let me take this holiday thing out. So we're here in Elements. So it starts off with photos, then it goes to shapes, goes to graphics. But down here, there's something that says generate your own. And it even has a little practice for you. You make a cute animal in the forest with flowers, but we're gonna make our own. So I'm gonna do a plus there. And it says enter 5 or more words to describe. So let's say we want a Christmas puppy with a red and yellow bow. So as specific as you can is better. And then you're just gonna hit enter. And it's gonna start trying to generate and make what you want. As specific, you can say, I want a little girl with a big red bow. I want a little brown boy. So this is giving me pictures first. So it's giving me a puppy. So like this is not making sense. But it's AI. So you can click here, generate again. And you can just keep regenerating until you get what you want. If it's taking too long for you to get what you want, then you probably need to refine your search. Well, there's a cute little puppy. Okay. But he doesn't have red and yellow bow, but he's got a little gold on his bow. Or if I wanted to say, little brown girl with red bow. Okay, so they gave a bunch of little brown girls with a bow. Here's a photo. Some of them will be illustrations. If you want an illustration or a graphic, you should say that. If you want a photo, when you say that, that would also refine your search. But let's say I just wanted to take this photo. And then you can use it, you can put it in a frame. You can remove the background as we did earlier. And you can arrange these items together as you like. So that's another thing about arrangement. Arrangement is also how you're placing these elements together. So I just took the background out with the little girl. I'm gonna remove the background with the dog. And I'm gonna overlap them a little bit so that it looks like they're actually together. He's way in the background. So arrangement is thinking about, like I said, what's in front and what's in back. If he's so little, it's not likely that he's really in front of her. He's more likely behind her. So you're gonna try to arrange things in a way that it looks real. All right, so this is our final one. You're gonna tell me what's wrong with this based on any of the principles I shared earlier. If you tell me, then I'll change it. So what are some of the principles we talked about earlier?
It's too busy.
Definitely too busy. But I don't
And
delete elements just yet. What else?
is that supposed to be layout allowed? L-A-U-O-U-T?
That's a good catch. Layout. It is hard to read, so let's make it white.
Okay.
White
The
on the
fact
yellow is not as clear as the white on the red.
That's true. So we could either make this purpose, we can make it red, or something that's more contrasting so we can see it better.
Right.
Or we could also have changed, how do we change the background color? If I just wanted this, change this yellow, how would I do that?
you could go over to can't see what's over there, but I know it's over to the left.
See right here, this
No,
little
it's
yellow.
up top. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's
So
up top.
when I click on the red, they see the red. And when I click on the yellow, you see that yellow. So that's where you would change it. Just click right on that spot. And then you have your color palette here. And remember I said these are colors that are in the photo. So we got all this gold stuff. So let's try a gold maybe. So again, if your colors are kind of coordinated, it's gonna look better. And we talked about hierarchy, what's big, what's small. Oh, another thing I wanted to add, a lot of times people with Canva, they'll just put the clip art kind of hanging out here in the middle, like, okay, I got my palm tree, but you can feel free to drag things off the edge of the page. What's most important is like so that you get the feeling that you want. And also a lot of people make everything centered, and that's not always good. So this icon, if you hover over it, it says alignment. This is where you change your alignment, and it's kind of a toggle switch. So you keep clicking it, it changes it. So that's full, justified, right justified, centered, and back to left. So if you just keep clicking, it's just going to cycle through those options. So I'm going to left justify this and stack it right up against this line. So it's a kind of harmony. Another thing that's useful is what they call blocking. Not having these long paragraphs of text. For the most, as a rule of thumb, try not to have your text be more than 3 or 4 lines. It's just easier on the eyes. To resize your font. So if your font is on one line, and I think, Jane, you asked me about this recently. If your font is on one line, I cannot make Happy Holidays larger than From My Family. You see, everything is getting the same, it's gonna be the same size. But if you drop it down, if I say Happy Holidays From My Family, hit the return button. Now with it on different lines, I can come in here and highlight Happy Holidays, and I can use the plus to enlarge it. Now, what if you did want everything to be on one line? Then you have to make another text box. So I'm going to take this text box and copy it. I hit Control and then paste it. So in one, I might say Happy Holidays. I'm just going to delete the rest of that out of here. And then I'll follow with the smaller text. So that's another thing too. People kind of get I hate to say lazy, but they want the ease of everything being in one place. Unfortunately, this is not ready for that. So you just gotta find another way to do it. So what I do is I just create another text box. But we did that for like a subtitle or something, and so I just want you all to know that if you're having a hard time, like, no, I want to make this larger, I want to make that, but it just won't do what I want to do. You're going to adjust the size here where you see this number. You could either do it incrementally with this plus or minus, or if you want to resize everything in that box, you can grab one of these corner handles. You see when I point at it, it turns into a little arrow. You click it and you can drag it, and that might be faster if you know you want it to really resize it larger or smaller. So like I said, there's a lot of elements in here. So you just have to be mindful of, I don't really need all that. Is it effective? I put these gold stars, they didn't need to be in there either. So we got balance. So I'm gonna invite you all to do your own holiday cards. I'm gonna just show you real quickly how to go in there and get your own template. And I invite you to share yours with me. And in my edited version of this video, I would love to share your holiday cards with everyone. So I just want to remind you to practice with purpose. You're using templates. So I've seen so many people's flyers that have this at the bottom, really great site. That just is a part of the template. So you got to be mindful. You're using templates those things are just placeholders. They're there for you to replace them. So the practice with purpose, you know, I'm gonna resize that. And I want you to have a joyful holiday. Let me just jump really quickly. This is my holiday card that I made from a template. I used the frame that we looked at earlier to put our organization's logo into. If I detach it, you'll see it popped out. So that was the frame. And I just took my logo and drug it in there, basically. So you can do the same with if your business logo is not a circle, you can use another shape. Or just pop it in there if it works. And so this is the back of my card. So again, if I wanted to print these out, I can select the pages that I want. This is kind of like you have in PowerPoint, what we call the slide sorter view. So if you have a document with more than one page, you can easily rearrange your pages here or get to a front page without having to go back. And so I'm going to see if I can select just my joy and my slide with the message and see if it will allow me to just print those two. So I'm going to go with print with Canva. And I want this one with the envelope. Let's see. So it brought me into another document because it needed to resize it based on the one that I chose. So I don't know if you can tell, this one is a little bit more like a square, right? Here's the samples of the pages it's showing me. So it's probably going to be better just to have just the pages I want. So here you could also delete pages. So I'm going to click that one and hold down the shift and delete all of those and just keep the two that I want. So here's a sample. It'll show you a sample of what it would look like. So that would be my greeting to all my friends. If you click through these other samples, it shows you a little bit closer. And then it shows you what it looks like with the envelope. And then the layout. And over here, as I said, you would select what kind of paper you want. So let's say I want a glossy finish. And I want rounded corners for some reason. You see the sample change. Now you can see the rounded corners. And if you wanted this for $46 for 50 invitations and another $8 for the envelopes, you would just click continue and order them just like you would any other item you purchase online. But you can just export this as a PDF, download it. You can download as JPEGs and it would make 2 files. And if you wanted to print them with Office Depot, Office Max, FedEx, any other, you would just email them or upload it to their app and just tell it to print there. I get really good prices with Office Max. So in closing, let's say you were starting from scratch with this whole holiday card thing. You know, you're going to log into Canva. So I have canva.com already typed out here. And up here at the very top, you know, to find the template you want, you will put holiday card, Christmas card, Hanukkah card, whatever it is, Thanksgiving, whatever it is that you like. Try to be as specific as possible. I'm just going to put holiday card. And I want to make sure it's selecting from Canva templates. So these are a variety of things. And you would just select the one you want. If you start one that you like and then in the process you're like, I don't really like it anymore, There's a way you could, and even when you select one, it'll show you other ones that are similar. So like I might have initially selected that, but no, I really like this one better. So all you would have to do is go in there and pop in your own pictures and either print or go to download what you want. Change up the text. If you wanted to add a page, so let's say you were going to do two-sided and this was one page, you would add a page and come over here to design, and then again type Christmas card, and it's going to show you some more samples. Then you can choose any of these layouts. It doesn't have to be the same one as the backside. So I might want to do that on the front and this on the back, or maybe I don't want it so much on the back. I can delete all of that out and use the center for my text for my holiday card. Maybe I do want one picture, I don't know. And then I can say happy holidays in the middle for Nikki Baker. So this is already typed out, so I can't edit that. But so to add text, you're gonna come over here to text, and it's got some sizes. I'm just gonna go with anyone and put Nikki Baker. You would put your name if you wanted to look like a signature. A lot of us want to use our signature, but maybe not our real signature. You would just type it out and come over here to change the font. Handwriting, like I said, they have these different categories: handwriting, corporate, display. And if you hit this arrow, you're gonna see all kind of other ones, rounded. And it's gonna show you samples of all these fonts here. If you don't have the pro version, you're gonna be limited. If you do, you have a lot more options. So maybe I'll pick Brittany so I can have a fancy signature. And I've got my trusty Chat GPT message already over here. And I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna paste it in here. So this is gonna be your number one problem in Canva, making sure that you size your text properly and making sure it's legible. So that's 15. You really, as a rule of thumb, for anything that's easy to read, you don't want it to be smaller than 12 points, just like your regular Word document. So another issue with this is that everything is in all caps, so that's making it harder to read. So I'm turning that off. You can toggle that on and off here, where you see this lowercase a and uppercase A. I kind of like it centered. The other problem is the lines are almost touching. So you're gonna come here where you see this spacing, there are little lines and an up and down arrow. And here you use this handle to put more space in between the lines. So if you really look at really upscale magazines or stuff that's like fashionable in the mall, they usually have a lot of space on a page. What we tend to do when we're smaller businesses and don't know any better, we start crowding up the page. So honestly, the less you have on the page, usually, for lack of a better term, the classier it looks. And so it reads, Dear Canva Holiday Card Practice Class members, as the year comes to a close, I want to take a moment to celebrate the creativity and dedication you've shown in your journey. It's been a joy to see each of you bring your unique vision to life through the art of design. May this holiday season fill your hearts with peace, joy, and inspiration. Here's to creating more even beautiful moments on and off the canvas in the coming year. Wishing you and your loved ones a season of warmth, happiness, and endless possibilities with gratitude, Nikki Baker. So I already have Nikki Baker down there. So I can take that out. I can put this somewhere else. I can add more space in between the paragraphs. I might left justify some of this. But you will, for this project, I just went over here to Elements and I had just found a snowflake. And that was good for me. It was simple and attractive. And so this one was a group of snowflakes. So I just kind of arranged the snowflakes around. My final tip for you on theory in theory of art and page layout, it's believed that most people normally read from the left to the right. So to direct their mind to do it as you want, usually we put something over here in the top left corner, telling them start here, read this, finish over here. So those would be larger elements. And then possibly the same thing, smaller elements in the other corners, and that kind of will frame your page. So I'm making it really tiny over here and tiny over there. So it just kind of frames the page in a way, and of course you could add other items. So I'm gonna share this link. Did anybody want to try anything out, or do you have questions before we close? I can share this card if you want to try it out, or we can just go to any questions, since I know I went pretty quickly. Any questions?
Nikki, I just have a quick question. When you have those boxes in the corner and you're turning that box to get that graphic different, how are you turning that box?
Okay, so when you add a clip art, you see this? Sometimes you would pull it in. If it's off the page, you might not see that thing.
Oh,
So there's a little, let me make it larger for you. So for you to rotate any element, it could be a picture, it could be a video, there's a little circle. It's only on one side of it. So if you don't see it on any, and it can be anything. This is a video. No matter what you put in, you're gonna see that little, see it's there. So I can rotate that video. So that's to rotate.
okay, great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other tools or things discussed, anybody?
Madam Governor, this is Veronica Bivens. This is my first experience with seeing Canva being done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I might enjoy learning it, but it is a lot.
It is a lot, but it's pretty fun. And I think the templates will make it easy for you. So I'm gonna challenge you to
To do something else?
do something. Yeah, to do something. Like I said, if you guys don't want to do a holiday card, do a business card. Here, let
That's
me-
a small task, yeah.
Yeah, do a
Okay.
business card. And I mean, like this ultimately is, I'm hoping to help businesses, especially small businesses. Like big businesses, they have big budgets. But if you're a small business, a small organization, or you just got a great idea and you might even have somebody working for you, they just don't seem to get it, right? They just might not be making the connection on what you're trying to get done. So it can help you at least just make a proof of what you're trying to do. So
Well, I'm definitely going to dive into it. I really like it. So yeah, I'm gonna be checking it out, seeing what I can do with it.
okay. So I think I just put,
Madam Governor,
yes, ma'am.
I want to say to Veronica, last year was the first time I pretty much heard about Canva. And I started playing with it, and it seemed like so much at the time. And I learned a lot tonight. But once you start playing around in it, it really does work well. It saves a lot of time, and it helps you turn things out in a professional way. I'm no expert now. I have a lot to learn. But I was overwhelmed by it last year about this time, I think. But I've used it, and I have another member of my club who uses it. She's much better than I. But if you just get in there and try it, you'll be surprised at what you can learn to do.
Well, thank you for the encouragement, and I am definitely going to try it out. I am.
Okay. another thing on the collaborative effort. So let's say you do have somebody helping you out with Jane is on. We use this function a lot. It's called notes. So the notes is, let's say you're in the process of working something and you've got notes and I need the person I'm working with to know, hey, this is what this page should say. You can copy and paste your notes in there. If you were doing a presentation, you know, those that could also serve as notes that I'm just gonna copy this happy holiday for now. But if you paste it from a document, you might have a Word document, you might have an email, paste your notes in there. So there's gonna be a different set of notes for each slide. So if you have a front and a back, and you're like, where my notes go? Make sure you're looking at the notes for that slide. Also, on a collaborative effort, if someone wants to comment on a particular part, because you know, I don't like this reindeer, and they don't want to delete it, they're able to put a comment on the slide. So there's no comment. So let's say I want to add a comment. So my comment is turn blue to red. So another thing, so with that, you'll know that there's a comment because there's this little pencil in the circle. And if I click it, it's going to tell me that comment. There could be multiple comments on the same page. And it might be remove this tree. So there can be multiple comments on one page. Remove this tree is one. Oh, I changed the same one. But you can have multiple ones on one slide. So if you're collaborating with someone, like you might, President Bivens, you might have one of your club members start something and you just reviewing it and want to let them know, hey, I need you to change this, I need you to change it. So you might not have to do it, but you are able to communicate with them through the app instead of printing it out, download it, email it, send the comments. Oh, I didn't get the email. Right? Did you get that email? I don't know if I got it or not. Can you check and see if it's in your spam? So it's all right in one place. So again, that's a part of the attractiveness of most apps now have a collaborative feature, but Canva has so many things in one place. It's really exciting. Are there any other questions? Marie Castillo, I see you hiding in there, past president.
I'm not hiding, but this was a very good presentation. I use Canva, but this really gave me a lot of very good tips, so I'm going to use it even more. Thank you.
Okay, and I do welcome any of you. I'm going to put my email back in the chat. I'm passionate about art and what it can mean, especially to our business, our organizations. It's the first impression you make to the outside world. It's how you look, right? When you're not there to explain, oh yeah, I messed up on that logo. This is what people see, is what you put out there. So I want you to not give up on making sure you express and communicate. As we said, that's the goal of design, communication. So what are you communicating? So like we looked at those bad flyers, what are they communicating? And basically communicating, I don't want you to buy my product. I don't want you to buy in. I don't care. I had to do this flyer myself and it took me 5 hours. So buy it because I said so. So I just want to encourage you to know that's a lot of sometimes wasted time and money. So sometimes simple is better.